incredible. And I do estates and trusts. That was I did not want to be a prosecutor. I did not want to do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't.
Right. That's why I mentioned that shout out to Holloway Wynn. Those putting our money into our family and our family stories, that's...
So if you want to write your book, do it. If you want to publish it, do it. If you want to put it online, do it. Because these young children one day are going to read it, they're going to see it, they're going to understand it, or maybe they won't. Because right now, my mother and I are not in a good place, but I love her very much, and she's still alive. And there's a chance that I can fix it.
Just picking up one final point on the whole, dysfunction and anger and violence and stuff. Again, that's part of families, that's part of our history. And what you see in these books is that people balance that. Back to music, I hope you can relate to this, Nancy. That's why I describe the content of Black Family Heritage books as twang. We are twanging our family stories because twang is a particular technique whereby you constrict the whatever you retain so much air. You're retaining that ancestral honor, that ancestral beauty. And so out of that little clear spot, it's just a loud, like the way I was saying, I thought that he walked on water. That's twang. And the point is, there's varying degrees of the ugly, I talked about that in these books. So there's no right or wrong, it runs the gamut. You make your choice, you decide. Particularly the academics tend to choose a lot of the uglier. But that just means that family ends up looking that much better because it's all about the distance between the ugly and the awesome. So if you put a bunch of ugly, you're just going to put that much more awesomeness about your family. Because no book, well, not by inside of the family. No book is, the point is the book is to say, my family sucks. All of these books are to say, we rock, and here's how, and here's why. Yes, sir. So Dr. Carey is saying that oral history is part of genealogy research, and it very much is. It's not the book that this is, it's one of those documents. Someone was saying, there's a bunch of documents. Oh, that was you, Nancy, saying that you helped make documents available. Oral histories are indeed one of the things that's in that deep knowledge statute. That is one of the records that is read through the ancestral hero lens. So yes, having those oral histories, documenting them, what else?
Thank you. What I wanted to know is, I think you all question here outline which you use as a tool in conducting.
Absolutely. So the question was, are there outlines and guidelines and tools that can be used to help people gather oral histories? And the answer is absolutely yes. I repeat, the genealogy industry is booming worldwide. Every product, every service, everything you can think of, including a worksheet for help. You can give that thing you had for us a couple of months ago. Remember you gave us a sheet to answer questions about people? Or is it, nobody was here?
That was for the course. We offered a two-part course.
But my point is, yes, there's documents for everything. what there hadn't been yet until this is a focus just on the books, but every aspect of the genealogy international industry is covered. So yes, I will personally give you one and help you do some. We did some, I don't know, actually this, some years ago when I was on the DEAAHGS board, we had a special project called Slave Grandchildren Remember. And we did oral histories of, I think we got 3 or 4 people who actually knew their grandparents who had lived in enslavement. And so these people were talking about their interactions, so when Joe Schmo, who doesn't have an intimate connection, thinks about an enslaved person, they think of somebody with scars on their backs and, a child, product of rape, etc. They think of all the horrible stories they hear. And these are people who knew these enslaved people firsthand, and so they thought of, this enslaved person as a beautiful woman who often says thank you and will you please and always brings you candy. So there's a very different idea and image, identity you get about people when you interact with them. So yeah, that was a good oral history. So yeah, we could share some of that, some of the kinds of questions that came up there. The thing that was really good about that project is that we had both genealogists and historians. So we had this one presentation where I was paired with a historian who basically wanted to say, he got, the name of the church wasn't really that, it was the other. Okay, it wasn't really on this corner, it was a block up. So that we can have this conversation that says, because that's the point about family stories. There are some that, yeah, you want to get the name right. You'd rather, but if you didn't, it's not that you miss the stories about my grandfather built this church. My grandfather knew the importance of this and the importance of people coming together. So yeah, I would add that one last thing for some people who might have a lot of information gathered and are just on the precipice of doing a book. They might feel a little uneasy, right, am I good enough? Can I write it? Will I make mistakes? So but again, we're gonna help. You don't want to make mistakes, but you don't want to not do it because you're scared of that. Nobody else was scared. I know English back and forth, and I guarantee you there are mistakes in my book. And was I going to let that stop me? So yeah, that's it. Other questions, comments? I think we closed it out already, but we'll close it out
Thank you
again.
for a very rich talk, but I also would like to say I could listen to you sing all day.
Oh, wow.
Thank you for singing. Thank you for
Bless you.
presenting.
You're so welcome. And yes, I do indeed have songs for each of those 3 themes for my family. So that's the kind of thing that which happens a lot when you're a church family. Yeah. And we are that. Oh, yes, sir.
Other than books, are there any other movies or documentaries, language?
Oh, there are a ton. I would recommend that, well, this isn't just us. That's hard to. So some people would say that there are just way too much, that they're like sick of slave stories. Every story is somebody got whipped and raped and then they had a next generation and the next generation. So I don't know those movie titles offhand, but I do know there's a genre. I do know there's a conversation of complaints out there that people say they're sick of it. One thing that I would recommend, and this is about an era rather than a family, I would recommend Gods and Generals. And here's why. So again, everybody, it's about heroes, right? You got your war heroes, your family heroes, your church heroes, education heroes, and service in the community. War heroes. If you don't find somebody who did whatever during the Revolutionary Wars, you just skip over that. if you know somebody who did something during the Civil War, you include it. I mean, the point is you wrap your family stories around the nation's story. So whenever there's a big things going on, you talk about your people's roles in those. So yes, we've got our Revolutionary War heroes. We've got our Civil War heroes. We've got the people who served in the World Wars. They are heroized in these books. So yeah, don't talk about, oh, so-and-so went to basic training here, and this is an anecdote about a racist incident that happened. And then they'll end it by saying, and so-and-so earned this medal, that medal, and the other. So the point is, however much ugly, the beauty shines brighter in the family. Did I answer you, or is there more? So yeah, do we know, or are there others? What's a really, Daughters of the Dust is a good one. But he's asking about good intergenerational Black movies.
Sure.
But again, what I would recommend, how do I put this? So much of the point of media, something out there, is to tell a common story. And I'm thinking you got enough of that. I would just recommend get down to the nitty-gritty of your story, because other people have these generic stories that we've already been trying to insert ourselves in, and better use of your time might be honing in on your own family.
It's a tough call, right? Because the question is so apropos. It's what drives us to the books oftentimes, particularly younger generations, because they don't read as much because of the nature of technology. But it leads us right back into one of the things that I was trying to frame for my own self earlier. My question, and hopefully everybody can hear my mind, was because we all have big expansive lives and we do a lot of stuff. I've done a lot of things. One of the things I am currently a member of Screen Actors Guild. So movies, television, Broadway, the whole kind of thing. The only reason I mention it, it's not relevant to anything, except that we're all aware, to the point that you made, one of the high criticisms that is often linked to Hollywood and stream production, whole kind of bit is, why can't you show our stuff? What's going on? And the response is often,
Show your stuff.
y'all ain't got no stuff. Like, we can't find your stuff. All y'all stuff is just people doing lips and, you don't, how is it a common story to show the larger community that they agreed upon you? The construct would be like, if you was in Germany and every other weekend we opened a movie about the Holocaust and how terrible the German people were, when most of the country is German, we probably wouldn't make a lot of money. But the key I was asking about whether or not they were self-published or whether or not they were out there is, and this is the thing that you pointed out, which I hadn't thought about, is there are amalgams of how the stories are told. Some of them are heroizing them, some of them are, different perspectives, and some of them are single families. You turn on TV every other day and watch a story about a complete British family's lineage that you don't know. That's here in America. Like, there are so many beautifully tapestry stories that don't make it to our calling. I lived in New York for 20 years. In New York, as a Black actor, you stepped out of the role that is pinched you down, that does not look like what you represent, but you have to take because you got bills to pay. You go and find other Black actors and you do small Black theater. When you try to tell our stories, you try to do it, it's usually just full of a room of us supporting one another to try to be like, let's get our souls back and do so. So I only say that to say, I find great depth in thinking that anyone is working on a collection of their own stories because it fights against what Black Panther is one of the largest, and it's not even about real families, it's a real country that exists, and it was one of the largest growths, and they were like, whoa, we can't believe Black people showed up. It's like, yeah, because people are clamoring to hear us, and we're clamoring to hear ourselves, and we're constantly told, yeah, most of y'all stories just about y'all getting beaten and not fighting back. And somebody else changed the legislation to save you. So it's just a very complex tapestry of how we let them know we got heroes, we got folks who do stuff, and it's not always about we stabbed all the white people and then we're back. We got
heroes. Right. Some people, your own ideology is going to color who you think of as a hero.
No.
I mentioned that some of the content that is disturbing is some people want their ancestor to have been Nat Turner. Some people want their ancestor to have been Booker T. Washington.
Right.
If your ancestor was neither,
Yeah, or Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. You know?
then you might have a problem, unless you just frame it the way it suits you and go with it. This is why the family discussions around the books, I think, are so important, because you've got wide varieties within families, which is why it would be neat to actually watch that. That would be video, that would be some content that could be in a movie, etc.
Right.
As well as doing reenactments. I love the idea of having an actor play Uncle Ben, the one who didn't go north with the rest, the one who stayed in Alabama to be a vice president for the United Coal Miners of America, that kind of thing. So yeah. So is that it for questions and everything? Am I closing, or are we close? Oh no, we're
Just a
not.
quick comment about going back to where we started with the songs. There are 3 songs that my family has adopted because our family comes from, on my mother's side, coal miners. So we've adopted Tennessee Ernie Ford's 16 tons, Norman Dead, Dead. We've also adopted Loretta Lynn's coal miner's daughter, because my mother was a coal miner's daughter. And then Country Road Take Me Home by John Denver, because they were from West Virginia.
Did you hear that? So we got 3 good ones, just so you know that, yeah, in the home, there's a bunch of songs like that. The description of ancestors, again, where you describe them in terms of their work, their hair, skin, whatever. Coal Miner's Daughter is the quintessential. Absolutely, that's the song. So you could have called out that one, and I clicked on that, we would have done it. But yes, thank you again, and we're close. Rosalind is here to close us out now, and we will, the chat with like the emails and stuff, that will be available to other people. We'll deal with it later.
I put the stuff in the chat. If you want, if you're here in person, you want a copy of the chat, but email the DEAAHGS 2017 email, and I'm trying to remember to save it. I can give it to you. Huh?
And the presentation.
What did you say?
I said, and a copy of the presentation.
But
Yeah, we can mail them.
you know, I'm saying, you're willing to do that?
Figure it out.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Okay. But it's DEAAHGS2017@gmail.com. DEAAHGS2017@gmail.com. So if you email that, hopefully I'll remember to save the chat. And whatever family wants to share. Okay. So we have 2 things going today. I still want to, I want to thank Pamela for that excellent presentation. I don't think we ever had anybody singing. She has a beautiful singing voice. I want to give Theora, she's going to do some announcements, and then today is our